Alabama is Parks. This line is 9 for Alabama. Who wants to go first?
I'll take the road
Perfect.
team.
Schaefer.
Yeah. I highlighted this in my notes, and I really want to make it imperative for any college football fan, casual college football fan who hasn't been paying attention this year. This is not going to be anything like last year's Alabama-Tennessee game. I want to
Please
get
do
that
not
out of the way.
Actually, you know what? No, Schaefer. Tell them to blindly bet the over so I can take the under when it gets inflated from people not watching.
There you go. Hey guys, there's going to be a ton of fireworks. Honestly, these two quarterbacks will probably go first round next year, so make sure you just bet the over because that's a good play.
Love it. Now that they already bet it, you can go back to reality.
Perfect. Let's talk about it a little bit. When I look at Tennessee, the biggest thing for me is defensively. How is this team going to make Mr. Monroe uncomfortable? Words are hard today, guys.
You're gonna have Milton and Milroe. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Milton Milroe.
I started flip-flopping those two last week, and I think it's still in my head. So when you look at Milroe, he's everything that he's done this year has been through the air, and specifically like huge gains. Like I think somebody said some stat that he's 60% on like over 50-yard completions or something like that, or 20-yard completions, but everything that he does is going to be a big play. So defensively for you, Tennessee is getting pressure on him. You know you're not really going to be threatened by the Alabama run game. Just get after Milroe and like make him complete his 5-yard outs. Like he's just not a guy personality-wise that wants to. I don't think he's mature in that way where he doesn't know how to settle. I think he is big play guy. He wants to throw a bomb through the air, or he wants to use his legs and make something crazy happen, like he's Lamar Jackson or something. I think he's just a little immature in that way, and I think that's where Tennessee defensively could make him force them to beat him. Like McClellan's not the guy I thought he was going to be this year, and I really think you can hold him under 75 yards. Like that's an underrated Tennessee defensive line. Mm-hmm. Offensively, how do you run the ball against this Alabama defense? That's the biggest question. If you've been living under a rock, this Josh Heupel offense lives on running the football. They don't throw for 350 yards a game. I actually have a stat. When Milton throws for over 30 times this year in SEC play, he's at least thrown one pick. So, like, keep him under 30. I think that's your target number. Limit him to maybe 20, 25 passes. And that means Jalen Wright's going to have to be the guy. Jalen Wright, the running back for Tennessee, is kind of what I thought Jace McClellan was going to be this year. So the roles have reversed a little bit. I think Wright's going to have to get his 100 yards, 125 yards, and Tennessee on the road, when you can run the football and make Milroe work on the short game, I think you can win this football game 20-17. Not to give away my pick or anything, but I think 9 is just too much for this team. And I think for Tennessee, just don't get beat on the back end. And I think you'll be just well within that number.
Yeah. I'll add one thing to the Tennessee side before we go to Parks here. Do you remember when Tennessee went into the swamp? You can't repeat that. You can't get stifled again in the run game the way they did down there, which immediately leads into Parks with Alabama, because I'm sure he's going to touch on exactly what we're talking about. Parks, to you.
Yeah, I agree with everything Jake said. That's kind of, I have the exact opposite points. I did mine kind of TV style, where you're going to have 3 takeaways, 3 keys to the game for Alabama to be successful. And Jalen Milroe is at the top of both of those. Starting off, if you look at Tennessee's defense, they really haven't faced a running quarterback all year. If they were to, their best running back quarterback they would have faced is Frank Harris from UTSA, and he didn't play. Outside of that, maybe Rattler, but really he settled into just being a pocket guy. They have their hands full with this guy, because Jalen Milroe is the second leading carrier on this Alabama offense. It's their starting running back, and then Milroe has the second most carries. So you're going to get a heavy dose of that. I think Jake hit the nail on the head. I think Milroe has to be more consistent in his throwing. We've talked about it in weeks past, where he'll throw a great ball and then he'll throw 3 terrible ones. They're going to have to find success through the air against this Tennessee defense. They've shown some very, very bright spots. But then you also have guys like Graham Mertz who had success against them. So I think it's a toss-up on paper. I think Alabama is one of the more quiet 6-1 teams in the country. Maybe there's one other one down on the bottom right of the screen. But 4-0 in the SEC is no joke. It's still Alabama. They're very, very good defensively. I think they have to force some turnovers out of Milton this week. They'll find success doing that. It's going to be a close game, man. I think with Bruce McCoy being out, I can't see enough offensive success from Tennessee to think that they can go at this Alabama defense and win this football game on the road. Caleb Downs is great. He's a guy we have to mention for Alabama's defense. He'll play a big role against Tennessee's second best wide receiver, like I said, because McCoy's out. He leads the team in tackles, 54 total tackles, 2 picks, a forced fumble. The guy's next level stuff. So I think Alabama gets it done. This is a very important stretch in their schedule. They play Tennessee this week. Then they have LSU at home next week in a revenge spot. And then they play on the road against a stifled right now, but a pretty talented Kentucky team. So important to get off on a good roll here. And I think Saban will have the boys ready to go.
Awesome. Brees, let's start with you. Me and you did not cover this game. What is your thoughts? Who are you picking ATS? We'll throw this on the graphic that'll land on Thursday, actually, when this comes out Thursday.
Like Shaver said, it's a lot of points, but I think back to last year, I think this is a spot where Alabama wants this game, and they won it really bad. I mean, this is a game where they lost in the last second last year. Getting them at home, obviously big for them. I think it's a lot of points, but I still don't know if that Tennessee offense is going to be able to do enough, especially losing that wide receiver like they did. So give me the Tide at home, and give me them to cover the spread as well.
I'll go next here. I'm kind of in the same spot with Reese. I've gone back and forth on this game tons. Like I was like, is it my dog's dog? Do I love Tennessee in this spot? Do I, understand that Alabama is very good defensively? Now, what quarterback do I really trust, Milton or Milroe? Well, I don't know if there's a right answer in that situation, but I, again, will go with what Reese is saying. I think I'll go Alabama, and I'll take him to cover. I just think it's going to be ugly, and Milton may find himself in a bad spot, and he's throwing picks and turnovers and just can't get his feet under him. Maybe he's just a little too much. I just think this is a bad matchup for Tennessee. Up to Jake.
I think it's just too many points for an Alabama offense that hasn't been consistent all year. And I think Tennessee's defense is too good. So I'm going to take the points, but I'll give it to the home team. I think Alabama will find itself with a win.
Hand in hand. I'm going hand in hand there. I think Alabama gets it done at home, but I don't think they cover. I think this is like a 3 or 4 point win spot for them. Okay. I haven't seen enough out of Milroe. I really haven't. I don't think the country has. It's a big spot for them. It is a revenge game. Brian Denton will be ready to go, but I don't think they cover. They'll win the game.
I feel like this is one of the harder games we've had to really talk about and break down and then pick, especially with the number. Like the number is odd to me.
Very similar teams on paper. Very similar.
Yeah. Let's jump into the next one we have here on